tie around this tree I'm starting with a single figure of 8, and I'll rethread it or retrace it to make it nice and secure. If I want the rope to stay in position, I'm actually going to bring it round twice, put it under a little bit of tension, and now that should hold a little bit better. Now I can rethread it, so just following this strand back and redoing that figure of 8 shape. Dress that, tighten up each strand. Now if I let that go, it'll sit in position. I'll put that under a lot of strain, and now trying to undo it's going to be a little bit awkward, but the knot itself is made up of 4 strands or bands. If I work each of those knots separately, or each of those bands separately rather, it will make it much easier to loosen off. Meaning if that's been heavily loaded overnight, maybe on a hammock, or we're using it on a climbing rig, or it's been rained on and it's got wet, that causes them to bind up. But that's just a really useful technique to ease off a figure of 8. So now in this instance, I'm joining two cords together. I'm using this figure of 8 as a tensioning system. So anchored on one tree here, anchored off to another tree in the distance over there. Take my cord and I'm going to thread it through the same gap that the tail's coming out of. Now I cinch up that figure of 8 knot and I keep on drawing down on it. It'll get tighter and tighter, and now that's adding a fair amount of tension. It's not completely locked off, but I can secure that with a little half hitch. Get it nice and snug up next to the knot. There we go. Now I've just joined two cords and added a bit of tension at the same time using that figure of 8, and it's as releasable as when we were doing our bundling. If I pull on this tail end, it just loosens everything up. With this though, just be careful, because we are pulling under tension, we just want to risk melting any of the cord. So apply the pressure gradually, that'll keep you nice and tight. As we're chatting about figure of 8s, we actually use a figure of 8 system to hank up our cord. So I'm passing paracord over my finger and thumb in a figure of 8. Now if I want to be able to deploy this really quickly, all I need to do is pull on this tag end, but when I secure it, I wrap the cord over on itself to lock it off. I'm going to poke a little bit underneath that last wrap, but I'm not going to pull it all the way through, so you can see how it's just tucked under. That way, when I do deploy it all, it doesn't tie a little knot in the end. Right, in the little pocket carry I've got with me today, got a torch in one of these webbing bands, and you can see how I've just secured it onto the ring, a little bit of paracord. That's just a single figure of 8 through the ring, and that can pop over the top there, so I don't risk that coming off. That is now secure, that will stay on there, but also that ferro rod secured with a less permanent fixture. So single figure of 8 threaded through the eyelet, there we go there, then figure of 8 on the cord as a stop knot. Cannot come through that eyelet, that's not going to come out, everything stays attached.